Sailing has always captivated the human imagination. Part of the fascination may be the idea of getting somewhere without working, by putting up a piece of cloth to catch the wind. But there's something more to it than that. Sailing represents the kind of freedom we see in birds flying, making use of the wind to soar, and it leads us to make beautiful vessels. Even now, long after machinery has replaced sails as an economic means of propulsion, people cultivate the art of sailing just for the fun of it. Of course, people hooked on speed don't understand the difference between a lake and an interstate highway, but those of us who sail develop a real feel for wind and water. When you are out there in a good breeze with no sounds except the hum of the rigging and the splash of the bow wave, you really get in tune with nature.
I've been enjoying that feeling since I was 13 years old on lakes, bays, and oceans throughout various parts of the world.
I'm Bud Folk, your host for this series of programs at the Lake George Sailing School. You might say I'm hooked on sailing, can't get away from it, and I hope you will be too.
Throughout the years, I've helped many people get started in this unbeatable lifetime sport, just as my father helped me when I was a boy. He began sailing when he was 55 years old, and he was still at it when he was 96.
You can learn to sail all by yourself if you'd like, using trial and error. You make all the mistakes that everybody's made before if you do that. Most people, however, if they don't know much about sailboats, will be better off going to a good sailing school, and luckily there are many of them scattered about the country. Most of them offer both classroom and on-the-water instruction, because you have to understand something about the principles of sailing before you can learn to handle a boat competently out on the water. This series of programs will give you a head start on understanding how a sailboat behaves, and sometimes misbehaves. We'll tell you what you need to do to make it do what you want it to do, and we'll give you some advice on how to avoid Murphy's Law on the water. But remember, sailing is an art that requires seat-of-the-pants experience on the boat. You must go out there and practice a good bit before you can sail the boat with confidence.